Hey everybody, this is Scatter. You might remember me from way back in the Zodiac days. Be sure and check us out. We're going to be here every day from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock. It's old school with Scatter. Scatter's back. Check me out on the internet, KUAW.org. For all you Paseo Central Manulite people, I want you to remember that in the 60s and the 70s, we had some good music. If you want to hear some of the Temptations, some of Smokey Robinson, some of...
Wake up. That's right. I said wake on up. Get on up and wake on up. Shake yourself. Come on, come on, come on. Wake up. Go get mama. Go get daddy. Grandpa. Go get grandma. Somebody wake up. You're listening to KUAW 98.5 on the FM side. Yes, that's right. Kansas City Global Community Radio Station. And you're at mama's table. And mama is cooking and she's smoking. You're listening to Dr. Cheryl Canty. Come on, everybody. Come on. This is Wake Up KC and the spinoff from Pastor Canty. Mama's table. Come on, mama's cooking. Mama done brought you something delicious to the table. Oh, somebody help me this morning. You're at mama's table. I'm serving it up right. I got everything you need at the table. That's right. Go get Johnny. Go get Sue. Tell her mama's serving it, and she's serving it up right for you. Come on, everybody. I need you this morning. I need you every day. Somebody shake somebody. All right, all right, all right. Come to the table. Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's time for us to do our morning stretch. Come on, let's pull it to the right. Hey, to the left. Come on, y'all can pull better than mama. Pull it, pull it, pull it. That's right. Shake it, shake it, shake it. Jump up. Hallelujah. Thank you. All right, all right, all right. Oh, it feels so good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, let's get started. Let's have prayer, all right? Thank you. Because you know when you come to mama's table, you got to pray. Take the head off. You're at mama's table. You're at mama's house. Come on, somebody. I'm telling you because I love you, not because I'm trying to mistreat you. Come on now. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Oh, God, we thank you. Master, we thank you because, God, you are so good to us. You are excellent. You are kind. You are mighty. You are holy, God. You're pure. There's none like you. God, you looked over us all last night and woke us up bright and early this morning, and you shaked us, God. And we found ourselves in our right minds, and we want to tell you thank you. And even those that are not, God, you're still a caretaker. You're still in total control. God, we just want to tell you thank you. We want to thank you for your blood and your hedging. We want to thank you for your darling son, Jesus, and that he's alive and well and dwelling in each and every one of us that accept, believe, and confess. But, Master, even on our best day, Heavenly Father, we find, Heavenly Father, because we're in flesh, that we may have stumbled, both things known and unknown. So we ask right now in the mighty name of Jesus that you reveal it to us so we can come running and ask them for forgiveness and telling you that we're sorry and mean it from our heart. Create in us a clean, pure heart and a renewed right spirit. God, you said the prayers of the righteous availeth much. Now, Master, work like only you can work. Do what only you can do. Heavenly Father, somebody's crying today. Somebody needs to come running to you today. Heavenly Father, you got the whole world in your hand. And we just want to tell you thank you. Thank you for this radio station, KUAW 98.5 on the FM side. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for Pastor Canty and all of those that are listening out there in radio land. Every household that this comes into the home of. Heavenly Father, even those in the world, Heavenly Father, we all need you, Lord. Now, God, it's another day's journey. So much to thank you for and ask for. And God, you know what we stand in need of, from the leadership to the poorhouse. Heavenly Father, those that are making decisions over us, we pray that they are divinely led by you. Heavenly Father, because any decisions they make affects us and our families. So God, we're leaning and depending on you. Heavenly Father, in everything you told us to acknowledge you, and you would direct our path. Lord, have your way each and every day. Heavenly Father, stop by a nursing home, a hospital. Somebody's lonely. Somebody's going through today, Lord Jesus. Strengthen them. Be with the bereavement. You didn't say that we would understand it all, but you said we'll understand it better by and by. Now, God, have your way. Have your way, Jesus. Help us, God. Oh, I'm crying out this morning. Help us, Jesus. In Jesus' name I pray. Anything left out of this prayer, God, you know my heart, and you know what's needed better than I do, for you are all-knowing, God. And we just want to tell you thank you. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. Amen, amen. Well, let's get started. Hey, thank you, Jesus. Hey, can't thank him enough. Thank you, Jesus. Well, let me tell you, guess what's around the corner? Guess what's around the corner? That's right. I said, guess what's around the corner? That's right. But before I talk about that, I want to remind you that every second and fourth Thursday of each month, Pastor Canty has Bible study. We have a new line. That number is, get your pens and paper. Never come to mom's table without your pencil and paper or your Bible. Come on, somebody. That's right. Come to the table fully prepared. And then as you eat and enjoy because of the blessings of the Lord, thank you, Lord. Yes, the number is area code 1-571-317-3122. I'm going to say it again real slow, because I understand sometimes mom gets so excited she talks a little fast. Y'all pray for mama. That's right. All right. Area code 1-571-317-3122. And then after you dial that, put in the excess code number. You got to have your pens and paper, because these are a lot of numbers, all right? 6955-45205 and hit pound. I'm going to say it again. 695-545205 pound. All right, and I'll try to say it again at the end, because those are a lot of numbers. All right, we had to get a larger station because we were losing people. We weren't holding them, so we have a new number. All right, God bless you. Thank you, Pastor Canty. Amen, amen. And I tell you what a wonderful, awesome time we had on Thursday night. That's right. He brought that word, and God bless Pastor Canty and First Lady Canty and each and every one of you in your households. And I pray that not only that, but you too be in tune to your Bible study and get in on your streamlines and support your church. Amen. Amen. But we welcome you each and every second and fourth Thursday on the line of Grace and Mercy with Pastor Canty's Bible study at 7 p.m. All right, let's get started. Guess what's around the corner? That's right. You're at Mama's table, so Mama gonna have to tell you. That's right. On May the 10th, don't forget, it's Mother's Day. That's right, it's Mother's Day. And you may not have been thinking about it, but it's best to start early. That's right, I'm talking about Mother's Day. Somebody loves Mama. Come on now. And then all the time, there's a grandmother, there's a wife, there's a mother, there's an aunt. There might even be a play mom. Let's remember them. Let's come. It's not so much as what you do, but what comes from the heart reaches the heart. And so let's think about her on this special day. What day did I tell you it was going to be? May 10th. Mama said it. That's right. Mama trying to remind you. Hey, I'm trying to get you to get an early jump on this thing. That's right. I don't know how the visitations might be. I don't even know if she's in the city. I don't know where she might be, in a hospital, nursing home, or whatever. Let's think about Mama. Let's send some prayers up. Let's send some cards. Let's whatever you have on your heart. It's just good to feel love, y'all. It's just good to think about one another. Amen. Amen. Well, how you holding up out there, KC? Are you staying in, and are you being obedient? Are you doing the things you're supposed to be doing? All right now you know everything has a standard. God has a standard. And so therefore, I'm asking you, be patient. Think about it. Think about the life you saved, not only be someone else's, but it may very well be your own. That's right. Well, I have a little scripture just before I go into the news this morning because I'm trying to give you so much. Oh, that's right, Michelle. I told you to be my intercessor this morning. I need, oh, come on, somebody. Will somebody help Mama live Jesus? Come on, somebody. I need some help this morning. I'm in a peculiar spot this morning. I don't know how Mama's table's going. Oh, I smell them rose. I don't know how Mama's table's going to go because God was stirring me out last night. And so I'm going to be obedient. Let me tell you, and I got this, and then I'll go a little further. Y'all work with Mama this morning. I'm going to give you a scripture from Romans 8 and 28, all right? Romans 8 and 28. And we know that God causes all things to work together for the good for those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. For those whom he foreknew, he also predestined to become conformed to the image of his Son, and so that he would be the firstborn among many brethren. And those who he predestined, he also called. And those he called, he also justified. And those he justified, he also glorified. What then shall we say to these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? He who did not spare his own son, but delivered him over all of us, how will he not also with him freely give us all things? Who will bring a charge against God's elect? God is the one who justifies. Who is the one who condemns? Christ Jesus is he who died, yes, rather was risen, who is at the right hand of God, and who also intercesses for us. Somebody need to be shouting right there. Somebody need to be saying hallelujah. What did they say he was at? He's at the right side of the Father. Yes, and what is he doing? He's intercessor for us. Oh, come on now. I'm giving you something to give you new strength. Some of you all need new encouragement. I know you haven't been to your church in a while, but your church starts with you because you are the church. Somebody better raise up and start this thing up with Mama. You hear me, Deacon? Come on, Deacon. We know how. Let the redeemed of the Lord say so. Come on, somebody. Well, hey, I'm trying not to get started too early. Y'all pray for me out there. Hey, I feel, Deacon, I'm feeling this thing. Come on, somebody. Well, hello. Well, hey, thank you. Let me give you a little, I'm trying, y'all pray for me. Come on. Well, let me give you a little news here. I got the KUAW paper and found out in the KUAW paper, and sometime too, if you purchase the KUAW paper, it only costs us $1 and a dime, I think, with the tax. In the paper on page 3, Public Works Director retires after 30 years of public service. Miss Sherry McIntyre, the City of Kansas City, Missouri Public Works Director for the last 8 years, is retiring after a total 18 years with the city. Mrs. McIntyre started her career in 1986 at the Missouri Department of Transportation, where she worked for over 10 years on transportation and infraction projects in the Kansas City region. Mrs. McIntyre joined Kansas City, Missouri Public Works from 1997 through 2005, followed by a few of the private sector's working engineers and project managers. Mrs. McIntyre rejoined Kansas City, Missouri in 2010 as an assistant city manager and later became the director of public works. Under Mrs. McIntyre's leadership, Kansas City, Missouri Public Works Department celebrates many achievements over the last decade. Successfully launched the Kansas City Downtown Streetcar, earned American Public Works Association APWA, accelerated in 2018, developed an entirely new Go Kansas City Sidewalk program after the passage of the voters-approved Go bond in 2017, installed several complete street projects, including the region's first parking project, bike lane on Amer Boulevard, instituted more efficient operation, including the money and time-saving design buildings and construction methods, and built dozens of projects citywide, from the new bridge repair, the roadway, to critical neighborhood infractions and projects. Kansas City, Missouri, and the Kansas City regions have benefited greatly from Mrs. Sherry's work and leadership over the 3 decades, said the interim city manager, Ernest Ross. Her impact on our city and the way residents moved around will be felt many years to come. Well, we just want to say to the Public Works Director, as she retires, congratulations. I too worked for Public Works and Streets and Traffic, and I retired from there 33 years of service. And so therefore I know that feeling. Congratulations, congratulations, and we're so thankful for the many things that you achieved. All right, well, let's keep on pressing. Mama got to keep on pressing because time is steadily moving. Another thing that we want to talk about is, and this is by from the Kansas City Call by Eric Wessons, Senior, the Call managing editor. Virus testing underway in the black community. COVID-19 testing underway. Several dozen people drove through the parking lots of the Morning Star Community Center on Tuesday, April the 21st, to get a free COVID-19 test to determine whether or not they may have the coronavirus. The test was administered by the Truman Medical Center, who received a grant to test people with statistics that revealed that determined that the African Americans in the 3rd and 5th districts were suffering from the virus at a higher rate than any other racial group. That is why Truman focused on testing in the black community. And also you can see, if you got the Call paper, you can see the picture of the cars lining up and the people dressed in prepared for the corona. It says about 100 residents of the 3rd and 5th Councilmatic District lined up at the Morning Star Community and St. James United Methodist Church on Tuesday, April the 21st, and Wednesday, April the 22nd, for Corona-19 testing, which was free of charge. You all hear that? They had testing, and I don't know if many of you all knew about it, but they had testing going on. So those of you that did know about it and taking advantage of it, that was good, because they said it was free of charge. Come on, somebody. Sometimes we don't know nothing because we don't read nothing. And another reason is because we don't listen. Come on, somebody. Mama got to tell you, Mama love you, but Mama want to serve you up right. Mama want to give you good food. Mama wants you to be nutritious. Mama wants you to be healthy. Yes, that's right. I want you to be healthy. They said stay healthy, stay safe, and stay at home as much as possible. Come on, somebody. So I'm trying to tell you where you could go or where you could have went. All right. The testing was done by Truman Medical Hospital Center after receiving a $500,000 grant to test Jackson County residents who show symptoms of the coronavirus. The tests were free. After the numbers started coming out about the effect of the virus is having on the black community, Truman Medical Center personally reached out. Thank you, Truman Medical Center. You all, we've got to learn to give people thanks too when they come to our community and help us. And also too, what do we have to do? We have to learn to help ourselves. We have to learn to get there. When we have things that are going on in our neighborhood, many don't have health insurance or don't know where to go. Spread the word, you all. Don't be selfish. We're in this thing together. Let them know. Did you know that so-and-so was doing something over at Morning Star? Did you know that something was going on at St. James? You know, let them know where to go. Give them the address. That's right. Come on now. We've got to help one another. Because if it affects them, guess what? It may not be at your door today, but it could be there tomorrow. So come on, let's get this thing taken care of. All right? Mama's talking about it. Mama's serving you up food. Mama's giving you fruit. Mama's giving you vegetables. Mama's giving you juice. Mama's giving you everything you need at the table. And sometimes mama have to even give you some castor oil. Hey! Yes, that's right. I'm saying mama know how to work this thing. Ain't nothing like mama. Ain't nothing like Big Peaches. Oh, that's right. We need daddy too. Hey, come on, daddy. Sometimes we have to pull out. Well, they don't want you to use the strap, but too bad for them. Come on, I'm old school. Hey! Come on, somebody. I'm stirring it up this morning. Each and every Saturday, you're listening to KUAW 98.5 on the FM side, Kansas City Global Community Radio Station. I'm talking about knowledge, I'm talking about understanding, and I'm talking about wisdom. Come on, somebody. Come to the table. Somebody help mama. Oh, somebody help me lift up Jesus. Come on, help me, somebody. Help me, help me, help me. Well, come on, I got to keep on pressing. And so we found out that they were out there, and it says, according to the data released by the City Health Department, 44% of the people in Kansas City have tested positive for the virus are African Americans, compared to 34% elites of the Hispanic made up to 14%, and about 3% race is unknown. In Jackson County, a total of 312 reported cases. Clay County has 88 reported cases. Platte has a total of 32 reported cases. Now, I'm going to stop there, but the reason why I'm giving you the statistics and the reason why I'm letting you know before we rush outside, because we got to get back to work, everybody. Let's just be honest about this thing. But we have to see by being quarantined how effective, because if you do and obey, we can get back to work. We can also spot where it's most hit the hardest and try to treat those areas. But if you be disobedient and you don't stay quarantined, once again, you have to start all over again. You have to do the days all over again. Then we don't know where everybody's at. And so we're coming down to that May 4th and May 15th date. And so let's work together. And I want to tell those of you that have been working, thank you. Don't stop. And then when we go back to work, come on, somebody, help mama this morning. When we go back to work, we need to be prepared. Don't forget everything that you learned from this, but take on precautionary and be preventive measures that you can take back into the workforce, okay? And keep your mask on. That's right. Keep yourself covered up. That's right. It's good to be, and remember the social distancing. This is all essential, all right? All right. I love you all, and that's why mama got to tell you, that's right. Somebody got to do it. Come on now. So I'm reinforcing it. And then sometimes mama just have to give you that look like, I'm talking to you. Hey, somebody, hey, I got to give them that look, Deacon. Hey, I got to let them know, hey, come on now. And you know, when mama talks, you don't talk back, and that's if you know right from wrong. Come on, somebody. Hey! So anyway, I'm letting you know about that. Well, I'm going to keep on pushing because I got a lot of stuff at the table, and mama's going to stir it up. I tell you, last night the Lord didn't let me have no rest, Deacon. He was stirring it up in me. He was stirring it up in me. All right, and so I'm going to also push on from that. Well, let's talk about a little sports. I know some of you want to hear the sports side. Y'all didn't think mama knew how to talk about those sports, did you? Mama, yes. Mama, yes. Just like God sits high, looks low. Mama's paying attention. Hey, I'm watching you out there in Radio Land. That's right. You're listening to KUAW 98.5 on the FM side, Kansas City Global Community Radio Station. Help me out there, Pastor Canty. Somebody help me. Somebody say, Mama's at the table. All right, all you ministers and people out there, children of God, come on, y'all, hit share. Y'all on the Facebook, hit share and put this out on the street. Sometimes we got to help one another. Let them get some substance out there. Put it out there in Radio Land. Put it out there in your community. Let them know. Say, Mama's at the table. Big Mama's talking again. She's trying to let us know, hey, we're in this thing together. She's trying to bring things back to a standard of a God-centered life. She's trying to let you know, hey, God did this thing for a reason. Yes, he did. And in Romans 8:28, he told us all things work together for the good of those that love the Lord according to his will and his purpose. Come on. Hey, come on, somebody. Mama's talking this morning. Mama's not playing. It's time out for playing. Come on, somebody. All right. Well, I'm back to the sports. Hey, it says Chiefs struck gold with Mahomes after the quarterback draft troubles. It says best first-round draft pick, Patrick Mahomes. Good luck finding a more recent best front-run pick than the number 10 overall choice in 2017. After learning season behind Alex Smith, the quarterback from Texas Tech led the Chiefs to an AFC title. We remember that, y'all. Thank you, Chiefs. Thank you. In the first year as starter. Then Mahomes comes bouncing back from the mid-season from a knee injury that leads him to Kansas City to his first Super Bowl championship in 50 years. Come on now. 50 years. Hey, you know we was excited. 50 years. Hey, come on now. Yeah, we did it. We bounced back. It ain't over till it's over. Come on now. And it says, with a comeback win over the San Francisco 49ers, running up including the Hall of Fame DT Buck Buckner in the 1963 and the LB Derek Thomas in 1989 and TE Tony Garcia in 1997. Best second-round draft pick. The second of two second-round picks of 1967 Willie Lanier went to the little known linebacker out of Morgan State to a standoff to the 1970 Super Bowl championship. He was a three-time All-Pro and started a 146 to 149 game over 11 season career that landed him in the NFL 100% anniversary team in the Hall of Fame. Best late round draft pick. You think that the 7th round draft these days takes forever. Running back to Mike Garrett had to wait until the 20th round of the 1966 draft before he learned he was headed to the Chiefs, where he was the All-Pro and won a Super Bowl during his first 5 seasons. He finished his career with the Chargers. Worst first round draft pick. The Chiefs used the second all-over pick in 1983 on Penn State quarterback Ted Blackledge, who wound up being a complete bust. Well, that's too bad he was a complete bust. Okay, making matters worse, Hall of Fame quarterback Jim Kelly to the Buffaloes at number 14 and Dan Marino to Miami, number 27, were chosen later in the draft. Worst second-round draft pick, the Chiefs refused to use a first-round pick on a quarterback after the Blackledge fiasco for more than 30 years. Instead, they tried to find a franchise quarterback in the second round and failed twice with Mike Elkins in 1989 and Matt Blurden in 1992. Best draft trade. With their eyes on Mahomes, the Chiefs paid a steep price to move the number 27 to number 10 in the 2017 draft. They wrapped up first-round pick with Buffalo kicked into the third-round choice and gave up their first-round selection the following year. But the 3 short years, the game has already paid off. Worst draft trade, unwilling to pay a player thought to be on the decline. Then general manager Carl Peterson sent a popular tight Ian Garcia to Atlanta for a second-round pick. Garcia is now in the Hall of Fame. Remember Tony Garcia? Okay, yes, nice-looking man. Okay, while the second-round pick turned into a journal defense back Janiver Arena. Do you know they once drafted R.B. Gale Sayers? You remember that Kansas City comic who grew up in Wichita and stared at just the road from the Jayhawks and was number 5 overall pick of the Kansas City Chiefs in 1965 AFL draft. This was before the league merged with the NFL. Through the Sayers was chosen number 4 overall by the Bears in the draft. He wound up going to Chicago and becoming a Hall of Famer and during the injury shortened 7-year career. So I gave you a lot of information, but I wanted to tune you into the sports, okay? I want to be a little bit well-rounded, all right? And then last but least, before I take a break, oh, yeah, that's right. Mama's trying to bring something to the table that will help everybody. So y'all come on, help Mama out. Come on, somebody help me out there. All right. It says the NBA players to begin a forfeit of a chunk of their payback money comes in May. Well, everybody has to pay a price. So they're saying that the NBA players begin to forfeiting. They're going to be losing some money, y'all. A chunk of their paycheck coming May. It says that ESPN.com, with the rest of the NBA season still up in the air due to concerns of the spreading of the Corona-19, it looks like players are about to fill the pockets to get a lot lighter due to the suspension of the 2019 and 2020 season. According to NBA Inside Andrea Wojnarowski, the NBA and NBAPA have come to an agreement that would see the league withhold 25% of each player's paycheck. Beginning in the middle of May, with the possible reduction should the rest of the regular season be canceled. While this won't hurt some of the game's biggest stars, as they already secured tens of millions of dollars, which previously deals, many of the NBA lesser-known players will find themselves struggling, as Portland Trailblazers star C.J. McCollum suggested up to 150 players are currently living paycheck to paycheck. My. You see, this thing affects us all. That's why we all need to be unified, and that's why we all need to obey so we can get things back up and running, all right? So it's affecting so many people, and at the same time, we are blessed people, even in spite of that. But we still, I think some things happen, you all out there, to help teach us a lesson. Sometimes we're living frivolously. Sometimes we're spending unwisely. But I tell you one thing, and I'm going to talk from mama's perspective. I can't, like I say, I can't tell your story, and you can't tell mine. But I have to say this. One thing I found out about mama, and I tell you to come to the table because I'm cooking and I'm smoking. Since this thing has been going on and I've been quarantined, I forgot how good mama could really cook. Mama been stirring them pots up, Deacon. Mama been cooking. I don't know. Look out, restaurant. I might put you out of business. But I've been cooking some meals. I've been licking my fingers. I say, oh, this is good. I forgot I could cook like this. So y'all, come on now. We learn some things that we forget. And sometimes the Lord allows us to go back because we had gotten so way away that he's trying to let us know, don't forget, even in the midst of him drawing us near to him. So I want to let you know, them pots are clicking. That's why I tell you, come on and get to mama's table. Come on and eat something delicious. Mama has healthy food for you. And also, too, we got to watch it now. We got to push back from the table a little bit, Deacon. We want to be able to be identified. Hey! Mama gotta have some fun at the table, y'all. Y'all gotta learn how to smile. Y'all gotta learn how to laugh. And y'all gotta learn and stay rejoicing, all right? Yes, that's right. In spite of it, after all the things we've been through, we still have joy. Don't let nothing take your joy. See, you have to give that up. The world didn't give it, and the world can't take it away. Well, I'm going to take a break. I'm taking a pause for the cause. But don't leave. Come back, come back, come back. I got some goodies on the other side. God bless you. Mama's Table, KUAW 98.5 on the FM side, Kansas City Global Community Radio Station. I love you. Stay tuned. Don't go nowhere.
Hey everybody, this is Scatter. You might remember me from way back in the Zodiac days. Be sure and check us out. We're going to be here every day from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock. It's old school with Scatter. Scatter's back. Check me out on the internet, KUAW.org. For all you Paseo Central Manulite people, want you to remember that in the 60s and the 70s, we had some good music. If you want to hear some of the Temptations, some of Smokey Robinson, some of the Tim Free, things that you don't get every day, DJ Scatter remembers he's going to have it for you.
Bank of Blue Valley is a proud sponsor of KUAW Radio. At Bank of Blue Valley, we believe that an understanding of financial values sets individuals up for a strong future. Whether you want to talk about checking and savings accounts, review lending alternatives, or discuss starting your own business, we have the right people to listen and advise. Visit us at bankbv.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to 98.5. This is KUAW, Kansas City, Missouri. Glad you're listening. Keep tuning to the new voice in Kansas City.
Hi, my name is Felania Johnson, and I'm a freshman at Pacell Academy of Fine and Performing Arts.
My name is Mayan Charity, and I'm a 7th grader at Lincoln College Preparatory.
STEM is a program about science, technology, engineering, and math. More girls our age should get more involved in the program because there's a shortage of black girls in STEM.
African American women make up just 2% of engineers. Roughly 1/3 of students of color express an interest in STEM. Most black women think that STEM is too challenging. We are sisters in STEM, and we are encouraging young black teens to join STEM.
If you're interested in more information, please contact Ina Montgomery at 816-866-6340.
Wake up. That's right. I said wake on up. Wake up and get to this table. Wake up. Go get mama. Go get daddy. Shake grandpa. Come on, grandma. Come on, everybody. Johnny Sue, go get little Jimmy. Bring back little Sue with you. Come on to the table. We're eating good. We're eating delicious. You're at mama's table. KUAW 98.5 on the FM side. Kansas City Global Community Radio Station. I'm talking about knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. That's right. Come on to the table. Mama's going to share with you. Mama's cooking it up right. Well, I stirred it up on the first half, so I'm ready to party on the second half. Come on, somebody. Mama's about to stir it up. I gave you your worldly appetite. Now I'm going to give you your heavenly appetite. That's right. Somebody help mama out there. Somebody come and help mama. Let the redeemed of the Lord say so. How many of you know it's praying time? It's praying time. You all, we need to come together in unity and pray. But how can you pray when you don't know how to pray? Well, sometime God will give you an opportunity. And so as you come to the table, you're doing some things that's right. Because when you come to mama's table, say your grace over that food before you eat it. If it was not before God and his goodness. Come on, somebody. Take that head off at the table. Mama got to teach you. That's right. Take the head off at the table. Thank you, somebody. Thank you. Well, I want to talk about on the second half because it is so vital and we need to talk about it. I'm going to talk about the power of prayer. We have full authority and oftentimes we don't use it. And you are like never before. People are going through you all. Some are at home and lonely. Sometimes they need a phone call. Sometimes they need somebody to just call and say a word of encouragement through the power of prayer. Sometimes going through, you can't get to the hospital, but you can drop to your knees. Come on, somebody. I remember when we knew to get down on our knees and travail and pray. Come on, somebody. It's praying time. That's right. Well, it's time for us to look to the hills which cometh our health and our strength. Our help cometh from the Lord. Come on, mama got to talk about it. Oh, yes, this one some of you might tune out. This is going to tell whether you're really serving the Lord or not because everybody can't stand at this table. Everybody can't sit at this table. Yes, yes, yes. Well, I'm bringing it to you right. I'm bringing it to you right this morning. That's right. Prayer is not a one-sided communication with a distant God, but prayer is a conversation between you and God and relationship between you and your Creator. God desires fellowship. When I talk about a relationship, we got to have fellowship. Fellowship is not only just going to the church building, because a lot of whoops done showed up at the church building, but they wasn't having church. Mama stepped on your toes, Deacon. Hey, I let them know, Deacon. Yeah, just because you come in there don't mean you was having church. That's right. Some of y'all was just showing out, but it's time out for playing. It's time to get right. That's what this is all about. God said, remember me. Draw close to me. Get down on your knees. It's praying time. It's time to pray. You don't know what to say. Well, God said, start having a relationship. How can I do that? Well, how, Lord, do I get started? Sometimes God said, if you can't think of the words, hallelujah. That's why he said, lean not to thy own understanding, but in all thy ways acknowledge me. Come on, somebody. Somebody helping in the redeemers of the Lord. Hey, Dr. Reverend Kennedy, come on and help mama out at the table. Come on, you all. Help me out this morning. All right, Monty Michelle. Come on, y'all. Help me out this morning. Sister Maxine, my prayer partner. Sister Shirley, my accountability partner. Come on, somebody. Sister Teresa Rutherford. Y'all help me out. Rosalind, come on, y'all. Help me out. Yeah, Lord. Help me out. All right, Pastor Terrence. Come on. Y'all help me out this morning. Oh, Pastor Canty, thank you. Thank you, Jesus. Help me out. It's praying time. It's time to be unified. It's time to get that relationship with God right. That's right. That's what he desires. He wants you to know that he's already chosen you. So now it's your turn to choose and get with him. That's right. Well, it's praying time. Well, let's talk about it. 10 reasons why you want to pray. 1, you want to spend time with God because he's the one that loves you. Did you hear what I said? Oftentimes we're looking for love, but we're looking for love in the wrong places. We can't have love if we're not God-centered. If we don't have God in the center of that thing, you're just going through something. Hey, it's just a matter of time because love alone won't get it if you ain't got God. Come on, somebody. You want to be God-centered. Get God in that thing because God really loves you, and he will teach you and your mate how to really have true love. There's going to be some ups and downs. It's not going to always be a howdy and a good day. Some days you might frown, some days you might cry, and some days you might almost can't stand one another. But because of God, that love kicks in. Come on, somebody. You need God in God center. That's why it helps your prayer life. That's why sometimes even in quarantine, you got to learn how to touch and agree. You got to learn how to come together with your children. Grab their hand. Let them know sometime and look them in the eye and let them know if it had not been for the Lord who was on your side, and teach them how to have a reverence and respect for the Lord. That's right. Don't let them come to the table just any old kind of way. We've got to get back to our standards. Number 2, to identify with God is to become like him. We can only come like him when we spend time with him. We can only become like him when we open up the word of God and pray and ask him to reveal the mysteries of the word of the Bible from Genesis to Revelations. No, we can't come in our own opinion and what I think and what, hey, start up, mama. You serving it. It's hot, mama. Some of them dropping them biscuits because they can't handle it. It's too hot for them, mama. All right. Put a little jam and butter on and let it milk. That's right. Get a little honey. That's right. Come on, somebody. You at the table. Get you some of them potatoes and some onions. And if you can't eat that, eat what's only healthy at the table. You know your diet system. You know what you can put in it. Some things we can't put in our stomach or our mouth. So therefore, I'm trying to teach you how to eat right. I'm trying to teach you how to eat healthy. That's right. Come on to this table. Come on and rock and party with mama. Mama's at the table this morning. All right. To identify with God by working together with him. Yes, that's right. We are God's servants. It's not all about us. It's all about him. To glorify, to magnify him. It's all about him. He is excellent. I'm going to get to that a little later because I'm going to go out on that because I don't want to rush this thing. Help me, Holy Ghost. All right. And it says to gain strength and to resist temptation. Yes, that's right. These are reasons why we have to pray. If you're going through a hard time now, start praying. You don't have to be cute. Get ugly sometime. Hey, talk to God about it. That's right. Go into your closet. That's right. Go into your war room. Talk to God about it. That's right. That's right. Talk to God about it. Talk about your community. Talk to God about it. Talk about your husband. Talk to God about it. Talk about your wife. Talk to God about it. Talk about children. Talk to God about it. You know that one that won't listen to you, but you love them, but you can't get them to see it. Talk to God about it. That's right. Talk to God about that one under the viaduct. God created us all. He loves us all. Somebody might be strung out on some drugs. Talk to God about it. Somebody might be an alcoholic. Talk to God about it. Somebody in a prison cell. Talk to God about it. Somebody laying up in a nursing home. Don't even know they might be here. Not in their mind, but talk to God about it. Oh, my God, my God, my God. It's praying time. It's time to pray. Somebody help me. Somebody help me. Kids in school, pray about it. Let them know they're going there to learn, to get their academics. Come on, talk to God about it. Oh, I'm trying to teach you the power of prayer. We have full authority. And we have not been using it. God gave us full power, and we're not using it. Power in Christ Jesus. Not in me, not in you, but in Christ Jesus. All right, well, let me go on a little further. And to made right with God. You know, you can't get right. And a lot of times we start really right in on God. And see, this is why it's good to rekindle at the table the things of God, the standard of God. We have to learn how to repent. That's right. Even at communion, you eat the bread and the wine, and a lot of times you ain't told God you sorry. Y'all mad at mama, but mama don't care. We got to get back to a standard. That's right. We got to get back to a standard. Ask God for forgiveness. That's right. That's right. And then you partake of that meal. That's right. But we got to learn how to repent. We serve a loving God, and repenting is not for God. It's for you. When you repent, it's for you. God is an all-knowing God. He already knows what you done. You can hide from people, but you can't hide from God. Ain't that right, Deacon? Yeah, you know, you can't hide from God. Come on, clean it out. Create in me a clean, pure heart and a renewed right spirit. God said, I'm trying to see, and I want you to see what's going on with you. I already know, but I want to see if you'll come clean. How can I trust you when you can't come clean? Come on now, you want God to do this and that and heal this person and that. Then you get upset with God. God said, come clean. Come clean. Repent. Get your life right. Get your house together. You got some things to do. Do an inventory while you're in quarantine. Think about the things and how good God's been. Honey, whoo. If it had not been for the Lord, I know that I have done some things. I know that I'm not proud of some things that God has forgiven me for. I know, hey, if it was not but for God, hey, I know, I'm glad you don't know it, but thank God, Deacon, he knows, and he gave me an opportunity to repent, then pray and talk to God about it. Let God know, Lord, I'm serious about this thing. I need you. My family needs you. My household needs you. My community needs you. Then, God, look in on those that are giving leadership over us, that they be divinely led. Come on, somebody. They're making decisions of our family and our children. Get it right. And then it says, these are reasons to pray. It says to find forgiveness, mercy, and grace. I don't know about you, but ain't nothing like the forgiveness of God. That's why God teaches us how to forgive. Forgiveness is not an easy thing. Matter of fact, it's hard. We can't do it without God. So that's why we're praying. God, help me with this thing. It hurt me. It wounded me. But I got to forgive. I can't even have a good prayer life. You ain't praying and you sitting up there got bitterness and evil and revenge and you scheming and coming against somebody. That ain't godly. God said, get it right. Get your house right. Get it right so God can answer your prayer. Get it right. Get it right. Come on, somebody. Oh, yeah, mama's at the table. You're listening to KUAW 98.5 on the FM side. Kansas City. Hey, hello, Deacon. Come on. I'm trying not to. Don't set me off, okay? Kansas City Global Community Station. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Lord. Thank you. Deacon gives a little shout back. You can tell a holy man because when he hear the truth, he said, all right, hey. Yes, that's right. Come on, somebody. Let the redeemed of the Lord say so. All right, y'all. I'm going to finish up. Help me, Pastor Kenton. This is Mama at the table. Y'all out there in radio land, y'all help Mama. Please help Mama. But we need to come back to this way. We need this way back in our lives. We need a godly standard. We need to be chastised. God chastises those he loves. I'm glad he spanks me. I'm glad he talks to me. I'm glad. Because when I get out of line, he helps me know, you know that ain't right. Come on, somebody. Well, let's go on a little further. It says to learn God's will. You can't learn God's will if you ain't in God's presence. If you're not spending no time with him, can't nobody tell you nothing. You know everything. Mama don't know everything. I'm going to say it one more time. I don't know everything. Matter of fact, I done made my mistakes, okay? And I thank God it's another day's journey. I'm thanking God that he's leading and guiding me. I'm thanking God that I'm listening more and more. And sometimes I have to run back and say, oh, God, I missed that. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Teach me because I don't know everything. Lord, teach me. Put people in my life that can teach me. Put people in my life that will give me accountability. Thank you, God. And I can give them accountability. Keep on praying for me. Come on, somebody out there in radio land. You're praying for Doc this morning. Doc needs your help. Doc is crying out this morning. I'm at the table. I'm Mama. I'm Peaches. I'm Big Mama. Yes, and I'm a God-fearing and God-loving woman. And I'm at the table. In order to get over on this thing, we can't do it without God. So come on, somebody. Somebody's hurting this morning. Don't think about yourself. God said think about somebody else. Somebody needs you to intercess for them. Somebody needs you to travail for them. Oh, come on. You're listening to KUAW 98.5 on the FM side, Kansas City Global Community Radio Station. I'm talking about knowledge. I'm talking about understanding. And I'm talking about wisdom. And I'm talking about, hallelujah, we need to get back and we need to understand the power in this prayer thing. We need to understand that God gave us the most powerful weapon. He knew about coronaviruses. We don't know, but he knows. He's all knowing. He said, but if you stay with me, he said, look to the hills which cometh your health and your strength. And even though we might be crying, he said, hey, it don't last always. And then he gave us a greater promise. No matter what happens here, hey, if you stay with me, I'm going to give you the promise of eternity. Hey, come on, somebody. Somebody shout, hallelujah. Somebody shout and rejoice. Let the redeemed of the Lord say so. Come on, somebody. Hey, Mama's in this thing this morning. And it says to learn, to offer sacrifices to God. To God be the glory. Lord, to all I owe. I can't keep myself. I can't keep my husband. I can't keep my wife. I can't keep my children. I can't keep myself. Only you, God. Only you. Surrendering all to you. Thank you. And to learn authority. He's a sovereign God. He's a holy God. He is in total control. No matter what the day look like, he's in total control. When I laid down last night and when you laid down last night, I'm talking to you out there in radio land. I'm ministering this morning. Yeah, you haven't been to church, but this morning you got a plate that you wasn't expecting. Hey, that's right. Mama came fully refreshed. I gave you the worldly goods on the other side, but I'm giving you the spiritual goods on this side. Yes, that's right. When you laid down last night, You didn't know what was going on around you. But when you woke up bright and early this morning, it's another day. After 12:01, whatever happened on yesterday, in the past, it's in the past. Now you're beginning your present. Now you're leading to your future. So come on, somebody. He's in full control. God is in total control. And to release God's power, we have to learn to pray. We have to learn to lean and depend on God. That's right. Well, I'm going to keep on chasing because I got to go a little further. This thing done got the best of me, and I'm going to be pushing. I'm going to be pressing because I want to let you know the kind of God we serve. But you know what? I've got to do this thing the way the God gave it to me. God said, and I just hope you all out there, sometimes we need things that will strengthen us when we're going through the storm. And because we've gotten so comfortable, we let go of some things we should have held on to. That's right. We let go of a lot of things we should have held on to. We let them tell us about Sesame Street, and that's okay. But we gave up the rights and the standards that we knew that worked best for us and our families and our communities. No kid have no right to tell you. God said, I made you the steward. You're supposed to raise them up underneath the admonition of the Lord. That's right. You're supposed to teach them how to pray. You don't know what them other people believe in, but you know what your household is about. You supposed to tell them right from wrong. Oh, yeah, I'm going to talk about it this morning. That's right. That's right. And I'm not saying hallelujah. I know we all have. Our mama done had some good times. Hey! And I thank God, Deacon, that's what made it hard sometimes to come away from sin. It was too good. You know, you get to enjoying that thing. God, come on, somebody. And it'll have you mixed up out here. I've been out there. I know what it's like. And I thank God for deliverance. Hey, let the redeemed of the Lord say so. I thank God I can talk about it. That way, see, you can't talk about somebody else's shoes. You ain't walked in them. But I thank God for the shoes that he put on my feet. And sometimes people's shoes look easy to you, but you don't know what them shoes done went through. Ain't that right, Deacon? They don't know. Hey, but thank God, thank God, thank God, thank God. Hey, I'm talking this thing this morning. God walked with me. He walks with me. He talks to me. He worked on me last night. I want to tell you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Well. Let me tell you how to praise and how to get a word through. A lot of times we don't know how to praise, and that's the problem. See, we got to know. We got to bless him. We got to say hallelujah. We got to magnify. We got to honor. We got to adore him. Oh, yes. And then when you get through, you need to know the attributes of God. I'm going to work this thing this morning before I go off the air. Yeah, I'm giving you a plate you wasn't expecting, but I don't care. You can get mad. But those that love Jesus going to hit share because they know this is what's going to get us through the pandemonium. This is what's going to help us endure. Yeah, mama going to work on it this morning. Yeah, the attributes of God. God is an able God. That's right. He's an able God. He's an almighty God. He's an abounding in love God. I don't know. Some of y'all acting like you're lonely. Get in touch with God. Oh, he can't nobody love on you like him. He's all-knowing. Yes, that's right. He's all-knowing. He's always present. He's attentive. He's awesome. He's beautiful. He's blameless. Did y'all hear what I say? He's blessed. He's compassionate. You need some compassion? Talk to God. Get with him. I'm trying to tell you the kind of God we serve. I'm trying to tell you what he's up to. Oh, y'all say, mama, come on, mama. Mama ain't giving you no slack. Hey, it ain't going to be easy. There's going to be some struggles, but that's okay. I'm trying to tell you about the God that we serve. All right. I'm on your street. I don't know if I'm on your street, but Deacon, I'm on the street. I'm on the street, Deacon. I'm serving them up right this morning. I'm giving them a breakfast they didn't expect. That's right. Well, I want to let you know. It says that I found out that you really don't know him until you spend some time with him. And spending time with him, that's why he gave us a prayer life. That's why he let us know that you need to come before him. You need to bow down before him. He said every knee will bow and every tongue will confess. That's right. And it also says we need to have a relationship. That's right. Oftentimes you might not have, it don't have to be cute. You don't have to have the words, but you got to reverence and fear him. That's right. You got to reverence and fear him. Oh, go ahead, Doc. Go ahead, Dr. Canty. You're listening to Mama's Table, KUAW 98.5 on the FM side, Kansas City Global Community Radio Station. I'm talking about knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. Pastor Canty, help Mama out. Michelle, help Mama out. Dr. Kennedy, help Mama out. Y'all, help Mama out. Rosa, somebody help. I'm talking about prayer warriors. I'm talking about them that don't pray church. I'm talking about them that don't have to get to the building because they living it in their life. Come on, somebody. Come on, somebody. Well, it said go ahead. What kind of God is that we serve? We serve a God that's a consumer fire. I'm talking about Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego. They got down. They didn't bow down. They got down and God was with them. He's a consumer fire. I'm talking about Daniel's protector. I'm talking about the one that was in the lion's den. That's right. I'm talking about this thing this morning. I feel the Holy Ghost. He enthrones. He's eternal. He paid the price. We couldn't do it. He paid the price. Abraham couldn't do it. Moses couldn't do it. Could none of them do it. David couldn't do it. Could none of them do it. But he paid the price. They didn't take his life. He laid it down. He gave us a promise. He took the sting out of death. He got the keys from the pits of hell. That's right. God did it. He's ever. He's present. He's exalted. He's faithful. He's first. He's flawless. He's forgiving. He's gentle. He's glorious. He's good. He's gracious. Hallelujah. Hey, come on, somebody. I'm telling you about the attributes of prayer. I'm talking about the man and his attributes. I'm talking about God. If you didn't know him, get to the table. Mama feels a Sunday morning thing going on. Hey, but it don't have to be Sunday morning. If you know God, it can be Monday. It can be Tuesday. It can be Wednesday. It can be Thursday. It can be Friday. Come on, somebody. Talk about it, Mama. Mama's trying to. Somebody help Mama out there. Are you praying for Mama? Come on now. He's holy. Did you hear what I said? He's holy. He's so holy. He's holy. If you can't say nothing but Jesus, he's holy. He's holy. When you get through playing, he's holy. He's forgiving. Oh, come on, somebody. He has integrity. He's a healer. Talk to God about it. He's a healer. Oh, somebody hit the share button. Say, somebody, we need the prayer warriors helping Mama. She's at the table. Come on, somebody, help me out this morning. I'm stirring it up. I'm trying to get you strong again. I'm trying to replenish your cup through Christ Jesus. I can't do it, but he can. Oh, my goodness, he's merciful. He's majestic. He's undescribable. He's invisible. He's a jealous God, as it speaks of it over in Exodus 20. He said, there'll be no other God before me. Oh, come on, let's quit playing church. Let's have it for real. I don't have to wait till I get to the building. It's in me. Is it in you? Come on, let the redeemed of the Lord say so. Mama's talking. Mama's talking to you. Somebody pray. Let's get these lines hot. It's hot for everything else. You can hit it. You can hit the share line. Let them know it's praying time. Let them know the saints ain't giving up. Let them know we having a party. Mama's partying this morning, Deacon. Hey, I'm partying. It's KUAW 98.5. Tell them say she putting out a Holy Ghost party. Ain't no party like a Holy Ghost party, because a Holy Ghost party don't stop. Hey, ain't no party like a Holy Ghost party, because a Holy Ghost party don't stop. Hey, regenerate, refreshed. Get yourself right. Get yourself in a relationship, because I'm talking about the man. There's no man like him. Well, I'm laying it down tough this morning at the table. God worked with me all last night. Somebody pray for Mama. Let the redeemed of the Lord say so. And then it says he's a just God. He's kind. He's everlasting. He's the light of the world. He's a lamp unto our feet. Oh, yes. There's none like him. There's none like him. I done tried him for myself, Deacon. Deacon, we done tried him. There's none like him. Sometimes all I can do is throw up my hands. Hey, but it's all right. Sometimes crying. And God said, if you get right with me and let it be known, all of us need him. God created everybody, even those that are sinners, because we was once lost too. But God said, you get to me, give yourself to me, accept, believe in me, and confess and repent. All have an opportunity. It's your choice. You got to make a choice. So I'm saying to you as I go off the air today, Mama done stirred it up, and Mama done brought a different table. And I know, and I'm going to teach you how to really party. You ain't really having no party if you don't have a life with God. Get your prayer life together. Pray for somebody. And when you take care of others, God said, I'm at the right hand. I'm taking care of you and intercessing. Let's pray. It's praying time. It's going to be a new day when you return back to your church. It's a difference. If you're going there, they're still playing. You know, he said it's going to be some wolves in sheep clothing. But those of you that know what God does, see, God had to shake this thing up. He did it on a Wednesday and a Sunday, and that was our warning. Now he came back nationwide, from the city to the community, to the state, to the nation, to the world. God is speaking. I love you. God bless you. Now you go. Love you. Mama's table. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, this is Scatter. You might remember me from way back in the Zodiac days. Be sure and check us out. We're going to be here every day from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock. It's old school with Scatter. Scatter's back. Check me out on the internet, KUAW.org. For all you Paseo Central Manulite people, want you to remember that in the 60s and the 70s, we had some good music. If you